Volatility is the best descriptive word I can think of for NIO stock and what the stock price has done. And I've got the chart, the history for NIO pulled up. The yellow line is the price. The IPO for NIO was in 2018 in the fall. It is April 19, 2024. As I record this, NIO stock is now trading under $4. More on that in a minute. But this is quite a bit of just volatility, I think is the best word to describe it. But this is what made me decide to do this video. It was a comment from a couple weeks ago. I really appreciated the comment because sometimes the comments get me thinking, and then I do a breakdown like this. So I looked in the history of NIO, the full history, not quite 6 years that it's been traded in the market. And I did kind of a breakdown of where the price range was during the different time frames. So this is the comment from Jeff. He says, this isn't volatility, it's crushing. Volatility requires some ups. And I thought, well, that's a fair assessment and point, especially if you're thinking of the shorter term downtrend that's just been negative and seemingly nothing else. But when I did the bigger picture overview, I learned a couple things. This is kind of interesting, and it's why I wanted to share it. So in the IPO being in the fall of 2018, from there to about June of 2020, NIO stock traded in the $1 to $10-ish price range. And then from about July to October of 2020, NIO stock traded in the $10 to $30-ish price range. For about the next year, November 2020 to November 2021, NIO stock traded in the $33 to $60+ price range. Now, this is where the red alert comes in. And my note, I noticed Citadel, and I call them a suspicious short, getting involved in NIO. And at that time, NIO was over $40 when I first did a video and mentioned them. And I was just thinking, I want to keep an eye on this and let other people have some awareness. Maybe we want to see what happens if, this suspicious short possibly messes with stock price action. Well, what we've seen since then is the NIO stock price, which was about $40 in December of 2021, going down to below $5 as of April 2nd, 2024. And the update today is under $4 as of April 19th, 2024. That's quite a sell-off over about 2.5 years, right? But my thought in the bigger picture overview is it's volatility if I'm looking at the bigger picture. Crushing might be the feeling or sentiment as a result of recent price action, however, especially if we look at the Citadel notes and then see that time frame. And let's do that. Let's pull that up so that you can see it as well. If the fall 2021 time frame is right in here, that's where NIO's stock price was trading. And what's happened since then? Almost everything negative, right? And the other thing that happened is we've had an uptick on fails to deliver again, which the white lines represent. There was a noticeable drop off during this time frame where at the same time, the stock price for NIO was quite a bit higher, elevated, one might even say. But that's just me kind of looking at things and kind of going bigger picture. If we come back and kind of get my closing thoughts and response here to the comment, NIO stock can move up or down quickly. And this is actually crazy. When I thought about this, I realized NIO moved from $3-ish to $54 in under 7 months. That was in 2020. That's a bigger move in under 7 months than what we've had in this entire downtrend, which has been about 2.5 years. How crazy is that? I did not realize that. So that actually makes me think, wow, NIO stock potentially can move up faster than it comes down. That's pretty wild. But I also think that's the definition of volatility. So considering the stock hasn't been listed for a full 6 years, I would say volatility and not crushing. But I wanted to hear from other people on this because, again, especially if you're thinking of sentiment only in the last few years and you've just been part of this, it almost feels like a psychological warfare or beatdown that's been ongoing with this thing. So I was just curious what others would say or think about this. And so I wanted to offer that. Here's the other thing that's really wild for me personally is that because I didn't even know about NIO when it first IPO'd. In fact, I heard about it in 2020. The stock price was trading around $6 at that time. And so for me, it's wild to think that we're now at a lower point stock price wise than we were back then when I knew nothing about the company. I just think it's crazy to think how the stock price is about as low as it's ever been since I've known about it. But the company fundamentally is better positioned and is much stronger than it's ever been. And so I'm very fascinated by the fundamentals, the price action, the volatility, all the different factors and things that come into play. And so I don't know. Anyway, just a couple of my thoughts, but I want to hear from you. What do you think? Is the NIO stock price action more of a volatile or a crushing, or what's a word that you would use to describe it? Please keep it clean. Thank you. I appreciate it. Come back and see me again. We'll see you all again very soon.